Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first video clicking on, my name is Katie and I make a bunch of different videos from beauty to fashion to painting to reviews, tutorials, everything like that, so make sure to subscribe. But today's video is going to be all about the new-ish ColourPop All I See Is Magic eyeshadow palette. And I actually picked this up on the day that it launched and I got it in the mail, but I wanted to use this palette for over a week to see my true thoughts on it because I actually did sit down and filmed like a first impression, but my opinions changed as I used different shades in the palette, so I didn't end up uploading that one, so I wanted to make one now where I have my full thoughts on this palette. So this is what the palette looks like. My lights are blinding out the cover, but it's just whites, and then these are the colors inside. Such pretty jewel toned eyeshadows. I love opening this palette just to look at the colors. I love how they put everything together. The arrangement is so beautiful and just really eye-catching. Now ColourPop has been coming out with, I feel like, a palette every single week or twice a week almost. It's ridiculous. So I knew I wanted to try some ColourPop shadows because I've never tried anything from ColourPop before. And everyone was raving about like their single eyeshadow formula, so I wanted to try it, but I wanted to wait for a palette that really caught my eye, and this was the one that really caught my eye. So this palette is $20 and it's a mix of metallic, satin, and matte. So yeah, here's what it looks like. Okay, so now going into the formula and what I like and don't like about this palette. So the first thing that I have to say that I love about this palette is that the mattes are outstanding. I've never tried a matte formula that is so cheap that works amazing. I feel like this is a leg up from drugstore eyeshadows, like from Maybelline, Revlon, you know, L'Oreal, like those kind of eyeshadows. I feel like these definitely take the cake for me personally, and they're just so beautiful. So this is a matte, this is a matte, these two are mattes, this is a matte, and this is a matte. So you're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matte shades in this palette. And then this is a really pretty satin shade. It's just like the perfect inner corner highlight where it makes you just look a little bit more awake and pretty. Now the issue comes with this palette is the metallic shades. I feel like besides this shade, so this shade right here is amazing. You swatch it, super pigmented. You use it on your eye, it's super pigmented with a brush, but every other metallic shade in this palette takes a little bit of work. So if you try to apply it with just a normal brush, like the brush that I use every single day to apply my eyeshadow is the Sigma E32. It just picks up a lot of the product and glides onto your lid, and this shade does exactly that. It's super beautiful. The other shimmery shades, basically like the jewel tone shades, these ones take a little bit more work. They're a little bit more chunky, and you can definitely see them in the swatches. I'll go ahead and insert some, but you can see in the swatches they're a little bit chunky, and I feel like that goes along with how it goes onto your lid. So if you try to, let's just take this shade right here, this really pretty copper color. If you just take your brush, there's a lot of pigment. So I'll go ahead and zoom you guys in so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so here is the shade that I just swiped with my brush. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use my finger, and you guys are gonna see a major difference. Do you see how, see it's kind of chunky too, but do you see how this is so much brighter than this one? And I feel like that's the issue. This is actually a really good one, it's not as bad. Let me do the really pretty olive green color. When you do it with your brush, there's like hardly any pigment to it. But then if you take your finger, like right here, and you swatch it, it's gorgeous. So I feel like it is a little bit of more work to work with these shimmer shades, or metallic, whatever the heck they're called. But I'm just trying to make this point that if you try to use a brush, it is a little bit harder to get it onto your lid. So yeah, basically that little demo was just kind of showing you guys how kind of powdery they are. Now, once you get them onto your lid, they are absolutely beautiful, eye-catching, amazing. but I found that the only way that you can get these darker jewel tone colors to really show up on your eyelid is A, to either wet your brush before you go into the shadow, which I think is kind of annoying. I don't like, I mean, I know I'm super lazy, but I don't like getting up and walking to the bathroom to put a lid shade on. So what I do is just use my glitter glue and put it down as a base and then put that on my lid, and then it works amazing. But again, my issue with this is that for these darker shades, when you're trying to get them onto your lid, because I mean, when I look at this palette, I see these darker colors as like lid shades, and then I just want like a blown out crease. And so one day I tried to do that, and I went with this like bright, like bluish brown shade all over my lid, and it was such a mess because I tried to get the glitter glue to like get in my inner corner, and then I got that blue shade like too high. So I had to redo my makeup, and then I started again, and I did it with the brush, and same thing. It's just, it's so hard to get it so precise because these shadows are A, a little bit chunky, but also B, like it just doesn't show up if you just use it by itself with a brush. So again, this palette, like, there's a 50-50 where I'm like, I really love it, I think it's amazing, the mattes are great, the shimmers are great once you get them on your lid, but the flip side, like, it's a difficult palette to work with. I don't know why I just stuttered, but it's a difficult palette to work with, and I have to be in the mood to work a little bit harder at my eyeshadow and not just have it like one and done kind of look. Now the one I showed you guys today is like one and done. It's super easy, super quick. It's with the lighter shades in the palette, so obviously it's gonna be a lot easier. But if you go in with the darker shades, you are gonna need to have a little bit more patience and not go in like an animal like I did my first day and like got it all over my eyes. So yeah, overall, I think this is a great palette. I mean, for $20, you're getting really pretty shades. And another thing that I love is that this takes me out of my comfort zone. So you guys know I'm a neutral lover. I say that in every video. I just really love neutral looks. But at the same time, I've been doing so many cool and interesting looks with this row in particular right here. I've just been putting them on my lid, one on my inner, one on my outer. And it's just been fun, like really just experimenting with my makeup. So I have to say this is a great palette just to kind of try ColourPop and to try some shades that might be out of your comfort zone. But again, it's not like a super easy, you know, just put your brush in the palette and put it on your lid and you're done. It does take a little bit more work. And then the other thing that I can't stand about this palette, and it's probably just me, that's why I don't really own anything white, is the packaging gets so dirty. Like you guys can see right here, it's like already super dirty. And another thing is that there is no mirror. I know some people do not care at all if there's not a mirror, but I am somebody personally that gets ready with a mirror and does my eyeshadow. I do that every single day, and this was $20, which isn't super expensive but also isn't super cheap, you know what I mean? And I picked up the BH Cosmetics Zodiac palette, which you guys will see a review on coming up, but they include a mirror. So I wish that they could maybe add some into their newer palettes. I would honestly pay an extra $3 if there was a mirror, just because I mean, I would take this palette to travel with me if there was, but since there's not, I wouldn't really gravitate towards this one. But that's, again, just my personal preference. But so yeah, overall on this palette, I would recommend it. I think it's really cool, it's really fun, and it definitely takes you out of your comfort zone, which I think is actually a lot of fun. And I have been doing so many cool looks this week, and I've always been getting compliments and people asking what palette I'm wearing, and it's always been this one. So I really like it. Again, just know going in that it's going to be a little bit more work, and you will spend a little bit extra time on your makeup with these shimmer shades, but once you get them on your lids, they are absolutely stunning and eye-catching. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this portion of the video, and now I'm gonna go ahead and go into the demo of how I did my makeup today, and then I will have to sadly say goodbye to you guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the eye portion of this video. So of course, here is the palette, and the inside is just, oops, super pretty. I love the color combination and how they put this palette together. So the first shade I think I'm gonna go into is this top one right here, which is called Top Notch. And I'm gonna take that on a BH Cosmetics B5 brush and just pop this into my crease as my transition. This is one of my favorite shades in the palette because it's like that perfect transition color. Okay, and then the next color I'm going to go into is this middle one right here, which is called Teacup. Super cute name, and on with a Sigma E40 brush. The one thing that I wish this palette had was a mirror. I always do my makeup with a mirror, so I think that would have been amazing if they could have incorporated that, but I know the price, you know, for $20 you're getting a pretty decent eyeshadow palette, so I do understand that. But I'm just putting this into my crease, basically just a little bit lower than that first shade we did. Okay, so here is the look so far. You guys can see the mattes blend so easy and so effortless. I really do appreciate this palette for that reason. So now I think I'm gonna go into this shade right here, which is called Go Wish. It's kind of like a, almost like Cocoa Bear from Makeup Geek, if you guys own that shade. It's like a warm brown, but it also has a little bit of darkness to it. So I'm just gonna put that a little bit lower than the other two colors that we placed so far, and then also work that on my outer corner. And I'm taking a Sigma E38 brush to do this. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and go into a lid shade. And this is like my favorite color in the palette, this gold shade, but I also really like this pink one right here. The only thing, like I will mention or have mentioned in my little talking portion, is that these shimmers are very chunky and glittery, and if you try to pick them up on a brush and put them on your eye, I don't really feel like they show up. You either have to use a glitter glue or you have to wet your brush, which that's the only thing that I think is super annoying. But other than that, like the color payoff after you do those two steps are amazing. So I think I'm just gonna do a glitter glue. So I'm just taking my Too Faced one, and I'm gonna put this sparkly pink shade right here, which is called 1111, and just put that all over my lid. So you guys can see once it's on the eyelid, it's really pretty. It's very vibrant. It's just if you try to do that with a brush, it doesn't really show up. So again, that's just one thing that really frustrates me with this palette, but you can make it work, and you guys can see it's such a beautiful like rose gold shade. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my other eye, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and go back into that dark brown shade and just try to kind of blend both of those shades together. It really doesn't take that much effort to blend them. And for the lower lash line, I'm gonna go ahead and switch it up a little bit, and I'm gonna go in with this kind of like coppery pinky shade. This is a really pretty color, but this is in the color Tinseltown, sorry. And I'm just gonna put that on my lower lash line. Almost done. So now we're just gonna take this shade right here, which is called Now in Zen. It's a really pretty kind of like satin white champagne color. And I'm just gonna put that on the tops of my brow bone, and then also in my inner corner. Alright, so here is the eyes. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do my lips, because I did purchase a lippy stick from ColourPop. So I'm first just going to go ahead and line my lips with this Bite pencil. It's their just lip liner in 10, yeah, in 10. Okay, and then for the lips, I'm just taking the color Aquarius from ColourPop. This is the one that Kathleen Lights collaborated with, and I really like this color. It's like the perfect nude where it's not too brown, but it's also not too pink. And it does go more on the cool tone side, so if you're into that. But I think it looks pretty, so let me go ahead and zoom you guys in so you can see the total and final look. So here are the eyes. You guys can see that the lid shade is super sparkly, super pretty, and the matte's blended really well. And then here is the lip color. I feel like it's quite pretty. Alright, that's everything for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed and it was fun to watch. Again, I just wanted to review this palette because I feel like there's so many first impressions with palettes nowadays, and it's very frustrating if you're a consumer and you watch these tutorials or videos or whatever and they make a beautiful look and then that's it, and you don't see the palette ever again. And I feel like sometimes the opinions are different after you've tried the palette over a week. Like the first day that I tried this palette, I did this gold shade and I did like the mattes and I was blown away and I was like, this is amazing. But then the next couple of days I started working with these more harder to work with metallic shades and I was like, oh, this kind of sucks, but at the same time it's a beautiful look. So again, my opinions just changed. That's why I feel like first impressions are cool to see the new products, but you can't really get a full, you know, review on the palette because there's no way you can try the whole entire palette in one day. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any video recommendations, please leave them down below. Also, I want to do a Q&A video coming up pretty soon. We're almost to 2,000. I know I'm jumping the gun, I'm not at 1,500, but I want to do a Q&A if you are new to my channel. So leave any comments or leave any questions that you guys have for me down below. But thank you so much for watching. I love you guys and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.